back for more is Marvin Fausto, president of COL Strategic Growth Fund. So good to see you again, Marvin. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Kathy. Good morning.
Okay, so your growth fund's 2 years and 7 months in, buffeted by just about all the event risks we can imagine, from the unprecedented uncertainties in tariff policy to escalations in the Middle East, midterm elections, slowing growth, and even slower inflation. So what's it been like managing your fund?
I must admit that it's really very challenging. You know, the volatilities in the market is really giving us a bit of excitement, as you see. So it's really very critical for us to quickly, actively manage the fund, no, so that when these volatilities come in, we can step aside and try to do more strategic investments moving forward,
Well,
Kathy.
exactly what does that mean? Active investing. That's pretty different from any of the funds out there.
Yes, active. Well, in my experience, like equity funds, they say it's actively managed, but they're fully invested. What I'm saying is, it's really the asset allocation is a critical component of returns. 70 to 80% of returns are coming from allocation, asset allocation. Now, when I say active, you move that allocation very quickly in during times where it favors you, where you believe it's going to favor you, or when you're going to manage the risk. So that's really very key in managing funds. Like, for example, in our fund, we do movement of these investments very quickly, whether it's equities, whether it's bonds, whether it's actively changing stocks and bonds, and etc. So moving this actively doesn't really mean that you're just going to hold it for a long term. No, it really depends on the fundamentals, technicals, and a lot of things that's happening in the market today.
Right, so it's like a bit of playing offense during bullish trends and then going defense, but it's pretty weak for the markets. Let's pull up CSG's historical returns and take a look, because the fund started in October 2023. So that was just as the world was coming to grips with the new normal post-COVID lockdowns. How difficult was it to beat the benchmark? I mean, that was just a sliver of a 0.5% return versus the more than 1.7% drop on the PSEI.
Yeah, that was in the when we just started in October 2023. But I think the full effect of our strategy came in 2024, even year to date. No, so as you can see the numbers, we have been outperforming the market consistently, and I think the active component of that strategy is really coming into play. Even since launch, we're up 9% versus the index only 1.68. And I think the critical component here is really managing the risk. And as you can see in the second and the other table there, the volatility, that actually represents the risk that the fund is taking relative to the stock market. As you can see, it's much, much lower. So the key to build wealth, we believe, is that you invest in investments that give you long-term return, but at the same time manage that risk, meaning lower that volatility. Because if it's too volatile, you're just not going to end up the same way as you started. You cannot accumulate wealth realistically if it is too volatile. So as much as possible, in our fund, the strategic growth, it's very strategic in terms of asset allocation, but reducing the volatility by moving the investments here and there.
All right, I get that, but how are you doing so far this year in the first 7 months? Are you still managing to outpace the benchmark or not?
Yes, that's right. We're up. We're up so far this year. Decently in the first half, as you can see, we're up 2.5% versus the market's negative 2.5%. So we're really up now about 5 to 6%, depending on where you are now. Like for example, today is going to be very different because there's a new stock that's going to be added to the index. So there's going to be a very exciting period again even for the second half.
It is. We're waiting for that Santa rally as it is nearly the Burr months. Well, thank you so much. We'll get back and see how you do on your fund. Marvin Fausto of COL Strategic Growth Fund.